Hey, what we got going on, man? This your boy Core Parks, and this is the Field to the Real experience, man. I am so excited and just like ready to take action for what we've been building, behind the scenes and take this thing live, man. I got my team right here. We've been working and meeting and taking place, like just bringing this vision, these things together for us to bring this collective to you guys to support and to, bring things in full circle for what's going on. I know we are I can't really say if we're on the downside of the pandemic or what place we are in this right now, but what we've been able to do is take something that we saw was a need actually way before the pandemic started, right, and was something that we felt student athletes needed in the college realm, but also just for transitional athletes coming out of professional sports as well. So here I have the Field to the Real initiative. We are excited about what we're about to do and what we're about to embark on to bring you guys resources, tools, and things that you may need during this time, not only to elevate your game on the field, but off the field, mentally, spiritually, and physically. I have a great team of unique and great individuals right here. So boom, let me expand out to the team. Everybody say what's up.
Going on.
Going on. So what we're gonna do right now, just to kick this thing off, I want to go through and I want to introduce each person that is involved in this Field to the Real initiative. Say something about yourself and what we got going on. So I'm gonna start off with my boy, Coach Pat. Pat, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on here.
Joshua Patrick. I played football at North Carolina A&T State University. I'm currently a strength and conditioning coach there, and my role is basically being a liaison to that younger generation. We're not that far removed, so
right,
I can speak about an experience that we just came out of recently.
Great. Okay. All right. Well, we glad to have you here on Field to the Real, as not only as Coach Pat, but Coach Pat gonna bring and deliver some things to these kids that they need for this mental strength. For the things that we may be missing and the ball may be dropped on outside that you might not have like initially thought of or have been thinking about, especially just during this pandemic time, but just for transitioning later on, into your professional career and the things that you want to do, not only to affect, the world, but, the many, many people that you may be touching around you. So we appreciate you coming on. I'm going to go to my next person, who is somebody especially near to me. She is a former Husky dog and is a person that, I've had the enjoy of being not only a friend with, but a partner in faith. And Zara, I got you here. I'm glad you're here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, everyone. Field to the Real family, supporters, and athletes tuning in. My name is Zara Northover. I went to the Olympics in 2008, represented Jamaica. Yes, full citizen, so some people say I'm Jamaican. It's a win-win for me, whoever's on the top of the podium. But nonetheless, I am also the founder of Moving in Faith, a brand. I work as a product manager at Quicken Loans, and I was a shot put athlete, scholarship athlete at Northeastern University. And we are excited to support you all in this time, because at the end of the day, once an athlete, always an athlete. And, whatever phase of life that you're going to go through as a high school athlete, college athlete, corporate athlete, entrepreneurial athlete, right? Like,
hello,
the athlete never dies. So thanks, Cord. I'm excited to work with everybody on this team. Most importantly, to just get God's work done and the mission work done, to be there for student athletes, to know that, you're not alone, and to do what we wish we would have had back then. And that's a platform and a support group of people that will help us on every phase and facet of our athletic journey.
That's right. Well, we are glad to have you. On to the next person. I got another young man who's not far removed from being a student athlete himself. I've known this cat, man, ever since he was a kid. I played up under his dad in high school, and his dad has a signature voice and tone, but his dad played a major part in the success that I had, not only as a track and field athlete, but as the cornerback that later became a professional athlete. So Kyle Bailey, man, introduce yourself and tell the team what you're here for.
What's going on there, everybody, man? My name is Kyle Bailey, straight out of Decatur, Georgia. Got to represent all the time. I went to a school called Tusculum University there for 3 years. And I'm currently in transition. I'm in an organization called Teach for America, so I will be heading into Metro Atlanta public school system in the fall.
Okay.
This pandemic. So, but I'm here just to give back to the guys who were like me, who really didn't know his role and where I was going or how to perfect what I was trying to do when I was coming out of school. So, you know, I'm also part of Beyond You. I'm the vice president. Pat right there to my side, man. He leads Winners Win, the initiative to transition these athletes into real life. So, just in the midst of this time, we're just trying to get creative ways to figure out how to help these young students.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate you coming along, being a part. And I'm very appreciative of Beyond You. I've had experience with going into the schools and working with Beyond You. So, you know, I want to thank you guys for coming apart and being part of the Field to the Real initiative. This next individual, let me see, where can I start? I met her probably about 3-4 years ago at opportunity for me to speak through her program, which I became just a full advocate, a full part of. I stepped into it and was like, you know, what you need me to do. And since then, I've been attached and working with her. This is my sister. I'm so appreciative of her, Jamia Bird. This is your time. Hit the floor. Tell us what you got going on.
My name is Jamia Bird. I am the founder of New Breed Works, and at New Breed Works, we are here to empower student athletes to achieve success. I was a student athlete at the University of Georgia. Go Dogs!
Okay.
I was track there for 2 years, and I also had the opportunity to work in professional sports for the Atlanta Falcons, and then come back and coach high school sports. So I've seen sports on every level and see the gaps that exist. So my passion is to help fill those gaps. So that when someone, you know, stops playing, that they're able to be productive citizens in society, because that's what sports is. It's a vehicle. So through this initiative, like, we're here to help be that voice, help be that advocate for you athletes to make sure that you're prepared for life after, whenever that may be, some sooner than others. So I'm super excited about the work that we're going to do, super excited about this team, and just can't wait to get started.
All right, so boom. This next brother, what can I say here? He's a big brother. He starts in the trenches. You know, talented dude, not only, you know, from being a student athlete, but has many gifts and has, you know, been a great resource and a great tool to many of us through his great video editing and podcasting and just all the great things. So Jared, man, appreciate you being here. And actually, you know what? One of the founders of Field to the Real, where his name came from. So thank you, brother, for this. And then, you know, just letting us your expertise in all the different things you've been doing, but also just, you know, with, you know, giving the name and letting us run with it to this time. So appreciate you, bro.
Oh man, thank you so much, Court. My name is Jared Burgess. I am a proud graduate of the real HU, Howard University. You know, I had to throw that in there. But I'm a 4-year starter at Howard, played football. And one of the reasons why I got into reaching out and trying to guide student athletes was I had someone in my life that was able to connect me to my passion. And so I just want to do the same. I am one half or co-host of the Field to the Real podcast.
That's right.
And yeah, I just love what I do. And I'm so excited to be a part of this initiative.
Great, man. I appreciate it. We appreciate you being a part. And last but not least, the whole entire glue to this whole thing. The humble, not only is she the glue, but she's just a passionate person and a person who has been able to hold all of us accountable in the many things and adventures that we've been doing, not only in Field to the Real, but just in life. Along from being, you know, a certified life coach, and so many different hats that she's where I met her 3 years ago, along with Jamil, working in a segment where we were working together at Douglas High School. But this woman has come into my life, and not only that, just been an accountable individual for prayer, for service, for holding me accountable for things that I've been doing as far as Field to the Real go. She's impacted and helped a lot of kids with their process and with their journey, and just being hands-on. So Stephanie, this is your time to shine.
Oh,
baby.
goodness. Well, hello, everybody. I don't know that I can say excited. I think it's a better word for it, but I am elated to be here with you all. Field to the Real is near and dear. As Cora kind of alluded to, Jared and I, we co-host Field to the Real podcast, but we started Field to the Real with the same common goal that everybody here has, and that's why I guess we took on the name as a collective, because our passion is truly about seeing athletes be the best version of themselves. As a life coach, I've worked with high school, college, and professional athletes on some level, and just being able to watch them and help them to grow and become the best them. Purpose is my passion. It is my purpose to help people find purpose. And so being a part of this, I'm the one that's not an athlete, but I am a coach. So
there you go.
For sure.
So I am here, happy to do this. Glad we're having this opportunity to come before you to bring you information and to hold you accountable if you need it. Like, we here. Just here to guide you in any way we can. That's what we do. That's what we love. That's our commonality. That's why we're here. God is in the middle of this and in the midst of this. So, you know, we all know that this is what he called us to do. So for us to be here in this place and in this moment is huge. And so we look forward to what we can do for you.
So, I mean, you know, just kicking this thing off, we know that this has been a historical time, unseen time, like something that none of us expected, you know, in our careers, in our households, with our families. We're seeing things happen that it was a blindside, right? So I think to kick this thing off, I mean, you know, I want to go to Zara. Like, how has this pandemic affected you? I mean, like, what has it been like for you?
Man, as you see me in this empty house, right? Like, it's been twofold. It's been such highs and it's been extreme lows. Thank God for God and thank God for therapists, right? Like, you know, mental health and mindset has been the two things that I talk about on a regular basis to anyone and everyone, and whether I'm in the corporate setting or whether I'm talking to fellow student athletes, friends, or college student athletes, because right now is a time where so many people are experiencing anxiety because they don't know what's coming next. They don't understand what's happening. We're losing a lot of life. People are experiencing, you know, pain, right? Like, you know, whether they're the one that are sick in the midst of this pandemic with COVID-19. I personally lost my brother April 6th to COVID-19, and I have a lot of other friends and people that I've known that have passed too. It's been a tough time. And, you know, in the midst of all that, we're also dealing with, you know, like racism and, you know, like things that are happening in the world. It's even more exposed because people have more time because they're at home searching social media, listening to the news and doing all these different things. So we are in a historical moment. And the reason why I say that it's twofold, because there's also a silver lining in everything that's happening.
Right.
If you are a believer in Christ, if you believe in God, the universe, whatever it is that you believe in, or just a positive person, you know, like, you also have to look at the blessings that are swarming around us. And there's a lot of that. And for me, it was the opportunity to purchase a home in this time. for me, it's also the opportunity to apply and actually get a promotion in my company. Like, just because a pandemic comes and all these crazy changes are actually happening doesn't mean that you don't stop trying to push forward. And, so for me, I've just taken it as an opportunity to really work on my mind and my mental health, work on my persistence to keep things going, but then also give myself a whole lot of grace in this time. Grace to just feel what I feel, to be emotional and to connect. And that's how we all got connected, because on my heart, reached out to you guys. You guys were feeling the same thing. And now we're here to help all student athletes or anyone that's like tuning in and watching.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think, a key thing in that is that understanding that I think we've all spoke about how, during this time, we feel that it's the season of the underdog. And for those people who have been, maybe been working in the silence and the side of, people have been having their own, I want to say steps and things that have catapulted them to the next level during this pandemic. So Coach Steph, how has this impacted you? Like, what are you feeling? What are you seeing? What are some of the things that you're noticing, that's going on or that you may see going on around you?
Well, for me, personally, it's been interesting. I said this when it first started. I said, "Oh, so God, you're putting us in an incubator." Everybody is going into an incubator. It's a time for us to, like Zara said, it's a lot of self-reflection, a building up of ourselves, some preparedness time. I look at it more so from I try not to look at the glass half empty and look at it half full. Right. I know there's a lot of tragedy that has taken place because of this pandemic. And I have friends personally like Zara or, some other friends who have lost people very close to them. And it's been really sad. But what I try to do is stay on this side that says, but God, I know that you have a purpose and a plan. And so for me, I've looked at it like I've been in an incubator this whole time. And he's been preparing me for what I'm going to do when we come out. And with what I do, since I am an actual, that's my profession, as a life coach. And so I work with people every day because I work for a healthcare company. And so I work with people every day who are experiencing all sorts of, anxiety or stress or, or even looking at this, like you said, kind of court as that opportunity to see, well, you know what, this is happening. What else can I do? You know what I mean? Like it's kind of shaking some people up to say, wait, everything's not cushy and comfortable. What is my life supposed to be? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? You know what I mean? Right. So I find that people are really more apt to be looking at what their purpose really is right now. Like, let me not just be out here working a job, Let me figure out what it is that I'm really supposed to be doing with my life. And so from that perspective, I found it to be refreshing that people are more interested in figuring out purpose.
Yeah, we have been seeing a lot of people tapping into purpose. And trying to figure out that thing that maybe they sat to the side that they're coming back to now, and they're saying, okay, like you say, God or universe or whoever,
right.
It's okay, I need to go back and I need to look back into that, or I need to tap back into these things, for the players, I mean, honestly, who could imagine right now as an athlete, number one, with this pandemic and how it started, but like, who would imagine being able to train, or that opportunity of maybe I was getting ready to go to the NBA, or this was my last game or my last chance to be able to, perform or do something like that. So, Josh, what would you be doing during this time if you were a student athlete right now?
If the sport that I was participating in is my passion and something that I'm really determined to do, I'm still doing that. I'm finding any way possible to work on my craft so I can be ready for the next opportunity whenever it may be. You know what I'm saying? I actually had experience with working on blind faith, and after my senior season, just not having any scholarships and still having that wherewithal to still go hard and work. You know what I'm saying? Me and my brother Kyle, we did it every other day or every day, you know what I'm saying, consistently. Jumping the fence to get the work in, you know what I'm saying? It's for right. Times like this is gonna expose the real and the fake.
Yeah.
You know, like if you really about what you're doing, you're gonna go harder. If it ain't really for you, which is okay, you're gonna fall off and you're gonna find what's really for you.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, Jamil, both you and Zara were both, and myself, you know, we were all spring track athletes.
Right.
So this time would have been like NCAAs, IC4As, like those are make or break like competitions, you know, like how would you have felt during this time, or, you know, what would you have been telling yourself, or things like that you would have been going through, Jamil, during this time, like knowing that, okay, this is my senior year or this is my junior year, like, all right, I just ran my last track meet last week because the pandemic just cut everything off. Like, how would you be feeling or thinking about that?
It would be tough, you know, especially that senior where you're like, this is your last moment, right? This is like your last moment to shine, and you're ready to, you know, share it with your teammates. And it's difficult. But I will say, on the flip side, just looking at the glass half full, there's something in this time that when you make it to the other side, you're going to have gained so much. You're going to have learned so much about yourself. You're going to have built resiliency and being able to bounce back in situations. There are so many skills that if we make it to the other side, if that student athlete endures and embraces, like Zara was saying, every emotion, don't negate what you're feeling. But when you get through that, you're going to be like, man, I can make it through anything now. Like, I was through a pandemic, you know?
Right. Confidence through the
roof.
roof.
For the juniors, it's kind of like, okay, that one more season, you know, you do have another shot. Hopefully we'll have another track season, you know, hopefully we won't be here next year. But just to cherish every moment and to don't take it for granted, because as we see, it could be snatched away. And I think we all know that, but when you experience it for yourself, it resonates a little more like, man, hey, it could be taken away just like that. But just looking at the positive, there's so many underlying blessings that we don't even see now that are going to be a result of, you know, the pandemic.
And seniors tuning in, don't think that if you go back, you choose to go back and finish out that senior year because you're blessed to have another year. Don't think that life, you're going to miss out on the real world will still be here.
Yeah.
Right.
Your college is not going to kill you or take away your shine. Like, trust me. Like, I mean, many of us, I mean, I know for myself, if I could have another year, I would take it in a heartbeat and not worry about it, especially if I'm a full scholarship athlete too. So, like, I mean, like, definitely don't feel bad, you know, for not deciding to, you know, go look for a job or go do X, Y, and Z because you want to take advantage of your last year. You deserve it. You earned it. You worked 3-4 years for it. I know that my senior year and junior year, I kind of struggled with some injuries. So I know if it was me right now, I'd be like, yes, Jesus, another year, you know, like, and I would be excited about this time. I know my teammates probably be like, this girl is crazy, right? Because she's out here actually happy that there's a pandemic right now. Be happy that people are obviously like losing their lives and going through all that. But if I'm looking at my own ecosystem and circle, I'm thinking now is the time to grind. Let me get my abs in. Let me figure out how to try to eat better, even though I definitely know that would have been a challenge up in the house. So here with you guys. But now's the time to just be looking at your situation, really reflecting like Stephanie said, because what you need to do is what you want to do. And whatever you want will happen because you don't put your mind to it. And God has given you this time right now to figure out what that is and go after it.
That's right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That is so right. So, I mean, we, you know, we've all been speaking about the positives and things like that. I mean, you know, Kyle, what have been some positive things that you pulled from during this time? Like, what have been some outlooks or some things that you may have looked at and said, you know what, these are the positive things that are going on right now, you know, due to the pandemic?
I think I got like the two most positive things that I can pull from this is, number one, the ability to just create. He made us like him to create. So in this time, you have to be very what's the word? You have to be very mindful and know that you can create. So you have to be interested. You have to make things interesting. You have to make things, figure out what's going on. We can't go out and do certain things no more. So now we have to create things that we've never seen before and take it to a new level. So I take it out of this pandemic, like it's positive. Like I'm learning that I am a creator. You know what I'm saying? I can create things. So just the fact that I can use my mind in a different way, trying to push my mind past limits that I've never taken it before. The second thing is time. Time is more valuable than money, I'm seeing these days. So now I have the time to figure out a lot of things that I didn't know. Of course, like we said, our purpose. Finding our purpose is one of our biggest things that we like to push onto the student athlete. And you got time right now. You have time to figure out things that you didn't know before or where you want to go afterwards. So creativity and time is the two most positive things that I've taken out of the pandemic.
Innovation.
Right.
You've seen a lot of people having to become innovative and more, like you say, just creative in the things that they're doing, the way that they're interacting, how we're interacting with each other right now, how the world is interacting with each other, like having to adapt to different things that we normally wouldn't, you know, do. You know, as athletes, we are very face-to-face. Our training is face-to-face. You know, we love to interact with each other. We love to, you know, be able to be in that camaraderie and stuff like that. But I am seeing on my side of things from training, guys are a lot hungrier. I'm not gonna kid. Like a lot of guys have been hitting me up, you know, constantly. Hey, when we gonna get back to work, or what can I do at home, and all of those type of things. So it's been very interesting to see, because like you said, things are being exposed about people who really want it. It's, do you want it right now? Yeah. How bad do you want it right now? We are seeing that. So, Jared, what's been some things you've been able to pull from it?
I think that just being still, you know, not having to rush and go here or go there. And I think God, the positive that, you know, God is probably trying to get us to see here is that you don't have to be in a hurry. We can all slow down. We can take our breath. We can take our time and do all the things that we need to do. Anything that you may have been lacking in, you can get that done. I know this is a bit of a kind of a bit off of what Kyle was saying, but we have the time to get everything that we need to get done in this time.
I don't know about y'all, but I've seen a lot of people turning up.
Really?
Party. I've seen people DJ nice out here pulling. People out all night binge watching Netflix and all these different types of things. So I think that's also been kind of cool to watch. Like it's been
Yeah, people still
listen. The fact that
I know so and so won't be at the club, but this call seems like Nikki's right now, right? Like, I see like some bottles and whatever. Like, I think it's cool because I've also seen people like just shine in a different light because they're hanging with their families. They're, you know, talking with they're running around with their kids because they didn't have the time to do that before. Now they're working from home, right? Or they're mandated to be home. You know, I probably talk to way more of my collegiate and high school friends now, just because like we're zoned into the internet. The internet's always been here, but I wasn't having Zoom parties. Like, if I wasn't on that plane to Atlanta to hang out with Cord for the weekend, which it's probably been 2 years now, Cord, since we were down there, right? Yeah. The line and doing it up, but like the reality is like you could still do a lot of those things. And I just hope that people are paying attention more to the connections that they're making. Like these connections, you may not realize that they're going to benefit you now, but they will benefit you later, right? You know, or there are connections you're making that you need now that aren't going to survive past pandemic. So quarantine bay, right, may not make it.
Oh.
Or you might find that somebody right is gonna be is that person, that best friend that you
goodness.
to. So you know, like you gotta keep it all the way real. It feels
Yeah.
100.
Yeah. I mean, because I mean that's a huge part, right? A huge part of being a student athlete is balancing the life of relationships and all that kind of stuff. So, like, how did y'all guys do it? Like, when you were in school, how did you balance out relationships? I mean, I could even imagine being in a relationship in college during this time, because you're having this social, So, like, I mean, I'm gonna just leave the floor open for for discussion on these topics.
Back in those days, I didn't really pay it much mind. You know what I'm saying? I would just focus on making sure.
Not much mind.
All right.
Who's it? Who's it?
Relationships.
Okay.
In college, yeah. Okay, in college,
generalizing.
I didn't pay it much mind. You know, I was focusing on making sure I was eligible as far as school. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't no academic person. And I went to academic school, by the way. Yeah. So it was a little tougher for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm making sure I'm eligible, first of all. And I'm making sure I'm giving my all on the football field. And I had a little entrepreneurial spirit. So I had a clothing line in college. So I had 3 things that I was juggling. So that wasn't high priority.
You had 4 because you know you had. So you
Don't be out here now.
I'm just saying.
Come on now, Pat. You had 4 or 5. You know.
Come around here, Captain Coach.
It just wasn't a big priority. I wouldn't.
Okay.
That's
okay.
How, you know.
I mean,
back then.
I can understand that. I mean, hey. I can understand it. I mean, I never locked into a relationship while I was in college.
You ain't locked into
one.
Real.
they said they locked into you though. They locked into you though.
Don't forget. Listen, I know everything. I didn't tell you.
I didn't lock into relationships. I didn't lock into relationships. I mean, it wasn't for me at the time, you know. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Like, it's a lot of things during this time, and I'm just like, wow, like things that are making me go back and like Z said, think about the connections and the relationships and the things that and when we say relationships, I'm saying friendships and all that kind of stuff. Everything. that I nurtured and I watered, you know, during that time, and actually have come back, you know, to tenfold during this time. You know, during my time playing, a lot of people reached out, you know, and asked for tickets and for different things and like that. But I truly cherished the people who, you know, just contacted me during that time and asked me how I was doing, or, you know, what's going on, man? You still been working on your cars? You still been doing things like that? So I was appreciative of those people that made those connections during my time, and also tenfold when it came back around to me transitioning out and moving into management, being able to reach back out to those people because they moved up so high in their corporate position, and being able to say, hey, I'm working and I'm doing this. And just because I had that dialogue with them throughout my time playing, and I was in Hollywood, it helped out a little bit. It helped out a little bit.
Cool. I was on the opposite end of
man, you was that guy?
I was that guy. I had a girlfriend my entire college career. From almost the beginning, maybe second semester all the way through. And it was some good and some bad in it. I think that being in a relationship kept me focused in some ways, but it was also kind of distracting in others. And so it wasn't a bad thing. The relationship ended shortly after college was over. So it's kind of like I spent all this time together, and then after college is over with, I'll save that story for later. But
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
do you feel like that time was a waste of time, or you feel like it grew me into the person that I am today?
It grew me into the person that I am today. I don't think anything is a waste. What'd you say?
That's the right answer.
Yes.
My God.
It certainly helped me. It certainly helped me with understanding things to take from a relationship, what things to leave, and understanding that you don't have to accept everything that someone's willing to give you.
That's right.
And so it really was a learning experience. I wouldn't change it, but I do think back, like, what if I was single while I was in college?
Whoa.
What you say at the real
HU?
They said that boy would have been a monster.
Oh man! So I knew what he was doing.
So for the life coach in this group,
no.
what would be some things that you would, I guess, coach us up on as far as dealing with relationships in college while we were in? Like, what would you say during this time?
What's the right way?
What's the right way?
What I would say is there is no right way. Like, literally, this is a case-by-case thing. I would never tell somebody, don't be in a relationship. Some people are just built to be in relationships. Like, they don't have the capacity to be alone, or they don't want to be, somebody who's player. They want to be just that one person. And even it's funny that the words that Jared uses, like, it helped keep him focused. So not knowing that you couldn't be looking all around you, for some people could be of some kind of help. So I think it just really, there is no right answer to that. There's no definitive answer to that question, Cord.
Okay, all right.
It's just about who you are, your personality, and what works for you, sir.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, we'll roll with that one, I guess.
So my experience in college was close to probably what some people are experiencing now, because I had a long distance relationship. Rival college too.
I played against him.
I'm a football team.
No.
Yeah, I used to be so mad at Z. Who you gonna cheer for? Who you gonna cheer for this week?
So this was how we communicated, right?
Yeah.
Internet, through phone, and it's one of those things where because he was an athlete too, we had that common bond of supporting one another, pushing one another. I think the times where it does get tough is when you do have an argument, when you do get upset with one another, because especially if it's the day before a competition, some people are not good at compartmentalizing.
Right.
That's where it took a lot of. That's where sometimes I think people will find that regret, or say they may have a regret of being in a relationship, because of that emotional roller coaster that goes when things are good and when things are, maybe not so good. I know for me, being in that situation, because I wasn't in a relationship for the first part of college, and then the last part we were together. But I mean, when you can lift just as much as your boyfriend, you're it's one of those, now I got a partner wherever I go. I got you. You spot me, I spot you. So it was. I always tell people, if you are gonna go down that path, just make sure that you are choosing someone that is gonna be supportive of you. And when those signs come, when that first red flag comes, you get to running. You get to step in and you leave, because you don't want that to be the thing that you look back on your college career and be like, I never did.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with you, Zara, because the one thing that I would say in this is, if you're gonna be in one, be in a healthy one.
Absolutely.
Be in a functional one. And if you're not going to be in one, the only other advice I would give you is be honest, because somebody else might
use protection.
Yeah, well,
yes. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Well, there's that. Yeah. But I was gonna say, just be honest with people. Like, don't like. I know this is hard because guys, I get it, you know. Like, but like telling a girl you're not really trying to be in a serious relationship is better than leading her to think that she's in one, and you're not in one with her. Because it is, yeah, that's not healthy and it's not functional. And honestly, I don't know about y'all, but the females that I see nowadays, these young girls, they're not playing. They're not very passive about their feelings anymore.
Not at all.
So
There go city girls on you real quick.
Any boys up, baby?
I need everybody healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, taking all those things in consideration, like I'm gonna just throw another open one out there. Like, what was the vision of yourself while you were in school? Because I mean, I know mine of myself going into it. I didn't expect to be going from Atlanta to Boston. I thought I was going to be at Georgia Tech or at a Division 1A program. And the reality of it when I got to school was, okay, I was in a melting pot and I was in a very diverse area. And I think the biggest shock for me was getting to school and realizing like the diversity of my people and people coming up to me asking me, Z, on campus, like, what are you? And I'm like, I'm Black. Right. They're like, no, what are you? And I'm like, I'm from Atlanta, I'm Black. Right. And they like, no, are you Haitian? Are you African? Are you Nigerian? Are you Bayesian? Like, wow. So the culture melting pot for me was a big thing for me. And I guess that was something that actually made me, want to dig into my roots and, tap into that side, and also the vision as far as myself athletically. I mean, I saw so many things, but meeting coaches and things and having that experience kind of put me on a little wave of things. But I can say that I learned a lot about myself in college. So what are some of the visions and the things that you guys have for yourself? And I just need to open, to whoever wants to answer.
I think in retrospect, go ahead. I'm sorry, Cal.
You go ahead, Jed.
I think in retrospect, the statement, your steps are ordered, comes to mind when thinking about my journey to college. Like you, Cord, I just knew I was going to go to a Division I school. I had offers from schools.
Yeah, we did. Yes, man.
Yeah.
Yes. You're not telling me that I'm not going to Florida. Florida State. Yeah, I mean, let's keep it
Miami.
Right. You're not telling me that I'm not going there.
Right. It's too easy.
I ended up losing all of my scholarships, with the exception of maybe one or two.
Okay.
Because I dislocated my shoulder my senior year of high school.
Wow.
And I went through like a bout of depression. But long story less long, my path made its way through Howard University, which I can see that God ordered my steps to and through Howard University to meet some of the people that I met, to even be here on this call with you all, because I had no plan to move to Atlanta, Georgia. I ended up.
Yes, you did.
It all came together.
You had a plan.
I wish I could have went here undergrad, but like I said, our university is where I was.
Right, your path.
And some friends that I met while I was at Howard, they moved down here, and that was kind of how I came to visit as an adult, and knew that I wanted to live here. And so, just to look back and see, like, wow, that all lined up together, and it has me here in this precise moment doing this precise thing that God has ordained for my life.
Kyle, what you?
To piggyback off of y'all, of course, you know what I'm saying, I had big dreams of going to these places, but my ego is kind of what killed me. And ego, my boy told me a couple of weeks ago, is easing God out. I had this ego, like, I'm this guy. And that's—
Hold on, you got to say that one again. You got to run that
back. Put that in real quick.
My ego is easing God out. So I had built up this. I don't know what I built up. Just being in high school, I went to South Cab High School. I was that guy on the field. I did what I was supposed to do, and I was that guy off the field. So you know what I'm saying. I had all these things feeding my ego. Like I'm supposed to go to, like I said, these big schools. You know what I'm saying. And I wasn't that gifted of a player. I was good enough to go to school and get my education paid for. So I should have opened my eyes to a lot more things around me instead of letting my ego drive me, which I want a lot of guys to know that. Like, don't you good enough to go get your education paid for. That's number one thing. Yeah. And if you're gonna get your education paid for, go somewhere that somebody who wants you and you know what you're doing. You're gonna enjoy yourself for the next 4 to 6 years.
Hold on, so you mean to tell me that I'm not supposed to go? I ain't supposed to go just play football? What you talking about, man? I'm going to play ball, man. Education.
Right. That's exactly how
I'm going to play
education. Man, I'm going to play ball, man. I don't know what you talking about.
And I had a 3.2. So you know what I'm saying? I could have went either way. I'm just like, hey, football the only thing I care about. So I want them guys to kind of open up. Don't sell yourself short. Never do that. But be realistic. Always be realistic. And when you open your eyes and open your ears to the people around you, I could have went somewhere, had fun, and got some play on the field, and got my education paid for. You know what I'm saying? So if I would envision myself, my ego envisioned myself bigger than what I was, which kind of put me back down to where I went. But you go through everything for a reason, like Jerry said. Like you go through those situations for a reason. I still got my education paid for it, and I still played ball. So big thing for them guys. Don't let that ego kill you. Ego will just do it to you.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's very interesting too, because as an athlete, we all know that you have to have this chip on your shoulder. You have to have this you kind of got to have that ego about yourself.
Right.
You got to have that healthy balance, man, because if you don't think that highly of yourself, then who will? And in a sense, but also you have, like you said, you have to be realistic.
Right.
Have to be very realistic, you know, and I think that's the healthy part. I think our coach on here would tell you is to be realistic, you know, and to also have that confidence in yourself that you can go and obtain and do the things, because if God didn't see you to be able to do it, he wouldn't put you in a position. But also when the cards are laid out in front of you, you making the correct decision, not only, you know, for your family, you know, because I know a lot of family members get caught up in these decisions that are being made and can sway these decisions as well. But like, you making the correct decision for you, because at the end of the day, you have to live with that decision. You got to live with that degree. You got to live with the decision of if it is to go. I hear a lot of guys ask me about, you know, going, you know, doing a walk on versus. I tell people all the time, hey, you go where they're going to pay for you. Don't go take no walk on to no Alabama. They got a loan just to be on the sideline.
Right.
No. You're going to go somewhere where you would be able to play, and that you will be of service to that team, and that you will be of value. You know, everybody wants to be valued and appreciated. And I think that's a huge part of being a part of a team, is understanding that what do I bring this team in value, and in return, how is that going to service you? Because a big part of me going to Northeastern University was going to be the only school that was going to allow me to major in mechanical engineering and play football.
Right.
Everybody else was like, no, sir, buddy. You're going to come in here, you're going to do general studies.
Right. And you're going to ball.
Right.
And, you know, in your third year, we're going to put you in something that's going to, you know, ease you up on out of here, maybe physical education. And this is no slap to anybody who did this route. Right. But you're going to be easy for us. And you're going to perform, and you're going to do it because it's a business. And I feel that the earlier you understand that this is a business, and you are essentially a business owner with your brand.
Your brand.
Absolutely. And that segues into right now, because remember, right now in the midst of this pandemic, we are at such a unique time where you are allowed to put yourself. So anybody, NCAA school, anywhere, NAIA, NJCAA, CAA, right now you could put yourself in a transfer pool. So you have a chance to go to Harvard if that's where you want to go and graduate from. Go to, maybe you were that person that wasn't good enough to get to FSU back then, but now you worked your way through Northeastern or some smaller school, and in this last year you can put yourself on a transfer scholarship potentially to FSU. So I really encourage you as business owners, like Cord said, to really look at your options. Because if you have a year or 2 year left, and it's not going to be easy like this ever again, because college won't let you just, play Monopoly and go where you want to go. Like, like on a regular basis. So utilize this time wisely to start looking into those options. I know some people that have transferred already, and I know some people that stay the same, and I know some people that are thinking are on the fence. So like for those of you that are listening that are on the fence, there's two things about fear. You could either fear everything and remain in a toxic environment, remain the same, or you could face everything and rise. And rise up and take that leap of faith and go where your heart is telling you need to be. But use this time, use your opportunity to potentially start your graduate program, right? Use time and make that best decision for you and be unapologetic about it, because the reality is, yes, people are going to be upset that you're leaving if you choose to leave, but the reality is if it was them, they might have done it anyway, right? Like, or if a coach gets a great job somewhere else,
he gone. I'm telling you.
So don't stay because you feel bad. Stay because it's the right thing for you, or go because it's the right thing for you.
That's right. I got two things. One, about what Cord said. This is so critical for the two things I have to say are really probably more for seniors who have just graduated from high school, who are getting ready to go to college, because this is the group that I've worked with over the last 4 or 5 years the most. If you can already have an idea of what kind of direction you want to go in, pick a school, not just that's going to give you a scholarship, but it also offers you the education that you want. In other words, whatever you're trying to major in. Like, don't just go and then figure it out. If you can know before you go, that's great. And then to Zara's point, we're in a situation right now where you literally, SAT tests, standardized tests are no longer even on the table for schools. As something that, this is like, if you're a horrible test taker, but your GPA is good and you're a good student, you're in the best position right now. Even if you're a college student and you don't GRE, none of that. Like, I know somebody personally who just got accepted to like 3 schools because she didn't have to take her GRE to get in.
Take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of you.
What's in front of you,
yeah. Don't look at the circumstances in the situation. That's when we say that glass half full, because it's full. It's full. You just you gotta drink up.
Yep.
You gotta drink up, man. You gotta drink up. All right, so if you could choose one word to describe yourself, what would it be and why? And I think I'm gonna start this one off with Miss Bird. Come on.
I knew it was coming to me. If I had to say one word, I would say determined. When I make up my mind to do something, my mind. I think about when I'm back in school now and people are like, go back to school. And I wasn't ready. But when I made up my mind, this is what I'm going to do, I did it. So I think it's coming to that realization for myself in everything that I do. Once I tap into it, then I'm good. So I would say determined.
The word that best describes me is visionary, because I feel like I've been able to see things way before it has happened in my life. This, with me going to A&T and doing it, I always had a mindset to go to a HBCU, or I always had to want to go to a HBCU, because that's my family has all went to HBCU. I had to want to go to a HBCU and make their athletics more respectable. You know what I'm saying? And I had an opportunity to do that when I went to A&T. And before I went, that was one of the worst teams in the whole FCS. So I seen the trajectory, you know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to be a part of doing that. And the fact that I was able to see that or have the mindset to think like that as a child and then be put in a position to do it and see it, I feel like visionary is a great word. And that's not even just with school and sports, with this thing right here. I made this decision that I wanted to give back to athletes and help them find their purpose by myself. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm here. I seen the void that needed to be filled. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm in a place where I can do it. So I got many stories like that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like visionary is probably the best word that describe me.
I love it.
Okay, Jared.
I would say the word that best describes me is resilient. I've been placed in so many different situations, and just the ability to come out clean on the other side of them, I think is what defines me. I've endured a lot, and I've done so with I've done so, you know what I'm saying, while still keeping a smile.
Okay. Move, Kyle.
Okay.
Probably might piggyback off of Jared, but my word is really perseverance, man, because it's been times where I know I want to quit. Like, this is not what I want to do, but I stuck it through. And when I got to the other side, I seen like, man, I see why I went through that. I see why all that happened the way it happened. So perseverance is just that not quitter mentality in me. Like, I will not quit no matter how bad it gets, no matter how rough it looks. I will stick it through and push forward until get to my heaven and get to my place of peace. So.
For sure.
Good. Okay, Coach, what you got for us, Coach?
That's just my name now, huh? Just Coach now. Okay. The word to describe myself is exhortation.
Okay.
And SAT words out on the
vocabulary. You gotta go look in the word bank.
And y'all silly, but I say that because I feel like truly like I said when we first started, truly I feel like my purpose here is to push people, and one of the ways that I love to do that is to help them, build them up, help show them their positive sides. And so that is just one of the things that it is just who I am. I can't help it, and I love it, and I'm grateful that God gave me that gifting, and I try to utilize it every single day. And so far it's worked out pretty well.
Okay.
Right.
What about you, Cord? Your word.
Oh man, well, Pat took mine. Then and Kyle took mine.
Went in the same.
You know, if you were to take all three of those and put them into, I would have to say, honestly, I went through a phase, but where I'm at now is persistent. And it's just something that when I look back throughout my road and my path, it's just been staying steady with the race, you know, and every time something was thrown in front of me, just staying persistent and keep on chopping that wood and keep on knocking down whatever came in front. And that persistence, it started with my mom, and it's just something that I just been able to say, okay, just keep going, just keep pushing, keep fighting, keep pushing, keep fighting, you know. And each time I've been able to push through and keep fighting, you know, I've been able to see the results, you know, because it's just like training, you know, when you just keep working and you keep doing the things that you doing, you start to see the results. You start to see those muscles grow. You start to see the things that people, you know, may have looked at and said, you're crazy, that crazy faith, that crazy look of saying like, what are you going at right now? Like, I can't even see it. I don't know what you're doing, but it's like, when they see the end result, it's like, oh, I see why, you know? So that's something that that's been sticking with me, just being persistent, being resilient. Like, it's just been a whole jumble of things, if I could take a whole thing. But I'm just thankful for, you know, for God just placing you guys around and the people that he's placed around to fuel that persistence, because it has been times where it's like, all right, this tree don't look like it's about to fall down. It don't look like it's about to fall down, but somebody like Zara call or Stephanie call, or I bump into Pat and Kyle at the stadium, or, you know, if it's something with New Breed, it's like we get that one kid that come along and like, okay, let me get this one more chop, and boom, there it is. You know, the tree falls. So I would definitely say persistent for me. Amen.
All right, Zara.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm an experience. Like, that's
okay.
the word. I am an experience. I think that when I first heard it, it was because a mentor of mine, who was my dentist in Boston, he went to Northeastern also, and he ended up meeting somebody, and he thought the guy actually was dating me when he was explaining something. And then when the guy said, no, not her friend. Then he was just like, oh, well, you have to meet Zara because she's quite the experience. I didn't know if he thought, like, he was like, well, if it was a good thing or a bad thing. I was like, that sounds amazing. Like, that's great. For the rest of my life, I'm an experience. You know, I feel like I'm always putting on a show because it's naturally my personality, like, to be loud and I don't have an inside voice. You know, like, I love people and I love making sure people are good. And I just want to make sure that when people meet me, they don't just meet me, but they experience me. And I think the best things that I heard was Nipsey Hussle, right? We don't own people, but we experience them.
That's right.
That's how I show up in this world.
Yeah.
Great word.
Awesome.
That's great. Yeah. And I think in that experience, I think one thing I can say about Zara is in that experience, you're going to walk away with a piece of her. And it's going to be something that you remember. And then that piece, she's going to call back and check on that piece. And she's going to check on you.
Respect.
You know, and that's something.
You ain't gonna use it.
Yeah. Like,
Respect.
Yeah. So is that experience a part of, like, you know, somebody who's a mentor or a mentee up under you? Like, I know you mentioned about, you know, the dentist who's your mentor. Like, in that process for you, is that like that experience? Does everybody get that experience? Everybody gets it. Because, you know, we're also versatile. We're also different, right? We're complex human beings that evolve and change over time. So depending on what phase I'm in, I know I am transparent with whatever phase that I'm in. I'm aware that not everybody is willing to be vocal about what they're experiencing. Not everybody's talking about mental health. Not everybody's talking about relationships in college. Not everybody's talking about those things, but there's a need for it. And because I'm open and I feel like that's what God placed me on this earth to do, I know that's why so many people right? They take a piece of me and it's just a reminder to them. That's where even my brand Moving in Faith came about. I'm certain of the uncertain. I don't know what's going to happen. Sure. But I feel that it's going to be something good, right? Like, I feel that. I believe, and that's what I choose. So, but when it comes to the mentorship stuff though, you know, like I was a mentee before I became a mentor. And, you know, as a mentee, I knew that I wanted to impact my mentor just as much as my mentor impacted me, you know? And I think sometimes that's where some people lose that. Some people don't realize like a mentorship is not really a one-way street. Right. It's supposed to be a two-way street.
That's right.
Older, you may not know how to use Facebook. So I'm gonna help you, right? Like, I mean, like, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna get you together while you get me together, right? Because job and you have the connections, you have the platform, right? It's a trade-off. Like, you know, like older individuals, and remember, not all mentors are older. It's really just
big facts.
Either older in terms of experience, right? Or older in terms of age, older in terms of just overall life growth. But like, you know, you can't shun a mentor. I have a mentor who's a dentist. I have a mentor who's a kindergarten gym teacher. I have a mentor that is a janitor, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, no matter who you are, they have experiences that can impact your life, and that's what make you a whole person. So for me, when I have mentees, that's what I try to do, is make sure that this platform I have is for you, you know. But I do realize, because I've seen it with some, that this, especially this generation, people forget that, like, just as much as you are receiving, you should be also pouring out to give, because the more you pour out to give, the more you will receive, right? So it's a constant ecosystem that is ever flowing forward, right? So everyone is elevating and rising through this thing we call life.
Right.
So that's my take on mentorship and menteeing.
Yeah, and I think a key thing that you mentioned out of that is transparency. I think we're in a day and age where a lot of our younger people can really see through a lot of BS and a lot of the fake things, you know. And amongst my journey and my time is I've just had a true appreciation for transparency, for people who are transparent and not translucent. You know, you got the translucent.
Right. I can see through you.
Yeah, you know, it's like, yeah, they gonna give you the facade and tell you the fluff side of it. But I want to know your failures. I want to know things that built you and made you who you are. I don't want to hear the glory story about how you made it to the NFL. But how about them 5 times you got cut?
Yeah.
You know, what's the real facts here? You know, that time that you lost it all. Like, I want to hear the truth, not the fluff story. And I think that's where a lot of our mentees are right now. They don't want to hear the fluff. They want to hear the cut straight. They want to hear the feel to the real. And that's a key part of this initiative, is making sure that we give you guys the straight, uncut truth and the facts of what's going on, and no fluff. It's just straight, hey, this is what we experience. This is what we see that's going on. And these are the things that we've been a witness to and we've been through. And these are the things that we would like to help you with. And I think that's just a huge part. A huge part of anything in growth is just being honest and being transparent about, you know, your walk and your truth, because it's yours. It's nobody else's. It's all yours. So going into that, I think we'll segue into this. What are some characteristics that you guys have been able to take from sports that have transitioned you into real life? I mean, that's a key part. I think a lot of big businesses, a lot of successful entrepreneurs, a lot of successful people in general, majority of them do have some type of sports background, you know. So what are some of the things that you guys, the characteristics that you've been able to take away from sport that has transitioned over into real life? And we can leave it open for anybody to answer.
I would actually love to hear from Jamia, because you've had a real extensive, like, the height of the working for the Falcons.
Yeah.
Get back to being working in high school and only competing for, you know, part of college, not the full time. Like, that's actually a really unique combination.
Right. Yeah. So I would say being able to adapt to change and being okay with change. I would say being part of a team, right? So being a coach, being a player, there's a certain camaraderie that you have with your teammates and with the athletes that you coach. And it's a shared bond and a shared experience. I think about my time at Clarkston High School. I coached cross country there for 3 years. We won, 2 years actually. We won back-to-back state championships. And that was the first time I experienced success. Look at Pat's face. I experienced.
That's big. I need to hear that.
That's big.
So it was the first time ever in Clarkston history. We won. They actually won 3 in a row, but I only coached officially for 2 years. So being able to see that as a coach, right? Like, man, like, we were like riding this wave, and like to see. Like, I remember the moment we found out we won the first, and we just like started crying, right? Just like that moment that time, we still have a group meet with all those athletes. Those are experiences that will never go away. Like, you're always bound by that moment in history, right? So the power of sport that we have student athletes all over the country and student athletes that have graduated, and it's like, but you ran for Clarkston, but you were on that state championship team, and no one can tell you different, right? You got the ring to prove it. So that's so powerful to me. And I think even in the pandemic, like, we've drawn back to each other. Like, that bond is still there. And like, as someone said earlier, even stronger now, just because of what's going on. And you're thinking back and you're looking back at old pictures and remembering and reminiscing, like, man, like, this was amazing. So that team and that camaraderie is something that I've taken into the workplace, and being able to be successful working in teams and understanding different personalities and understanding, okay, you can't come at this person this way, you have to come at them this way, and being able to adjust and adapt and be successful, because everyone's not the same. Everyone's not going to perceive us the same.
Right. So
being cognizant and aware of that, you know, will help us be successful. And I also think the discipline of being a student athlete, as my football players know,
most definitely,
you guys are, you know, your schedules are built from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., right? So the discipline, a lot of corporations find that trait very being able to transition to the workforce, because you're able to stay aligned with your tasks, you're able to be productive, you're able to see a thing through from point A to point B to the process being complete. So that's something I see, especially in a lot of men, that discipline really, really helps them in the corporate world and whatever they want to do, whether it's real estate development or being an entrepreneur. Those skills are still very, very relevant.
I think that
go ahead, Cal.
I think that Jamia just really hit it on the head right there. Like, what I took the most was that work ethic that football gave me. I got to be up at 4:30 to make this, and I gotta go the whole day. I gotta go meetings, such and such, just do all of this throughout my day. So taking that and if you take that mentality into the workforce, you are going to be great. I don't care what you You wake up at 4:30, you're gonna say, okay, I'm gonna put this time in for this, for my job, and I'm gonna go through my day. I'm gonna set this out. I'm just keep putting it. You already got the formula already built into you from football or from whatever sport you play. You have to go all day. You have to go through meetings. You got to do all of these things. So me taking that, I wake up right now. I wake up at 4:30, and I got to get stuff done for myself. I got to get stuff done for what I want to do with Beyond You. I have to get stuff done with just little things that I'm trying to push out to the world, and I'm trying to create. So having that work ethic from football, from my background, has pushed me to so many limits that a lot of regular people who didn't play a sport, they don't understand that. They don't understand. How can you wake up at 4:30 to do this? And you already know, as an athlete too, you're gonna put those little extra the time in to be great. If you want to be great, you're gonna put the extra work in. And it's the same way when you go into the workforce. You put that extra work in, whatever you do, you're going to be great at it, because you're putting time and effort into it. And a lot of people, they'll come home, you know, it's not saying anything is wrong with coming home, I'm gonna watch TV. Now you come home and you focus in, okay, I'm gonna make myself better in this area so it can show in the workforce, so it can show whatever I'm doing here. So me hit it on.
I feel like
Oh, go ahead.
I feel like being able to overcome obstacles is one of the biggest things that I took from being a student athlete. Like, just think about the course of a play. I play a linebacker. I might have to step over somebody. I might have. I gotta defeat the blocker. I gotta get around him, and then I got make a play. And then, okay, let's say another play. They might audible. They might transition their formation. I got to think in my head. I got to switch the play for the rest of the defense. You know what I'm saying? Being able to think on the fly, being able to not be flustered when something comes about that is not according to plan. You know what I'm saying?
I'm so glad you wrote it for me, because what I was smiling at is you could always tell an athlete when they are speaking, because every one of y'all was like, oh, there. And
we used to see it, coach.
You talk with your hands.
Yes.
passion. It's really fun to watch. You can tell when somebody was an athlete at some point in their life because they talk with their hands.
Yeah. I can go on the flip side and say that through my 20-something years of playing, like when I actually got a chance to drop that discipline for a little minute, I enjoyed it. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I said, you know, I always said, I used to look at in the gym in high school, the old gym coach who was like, oh yeah, I played quarterback. And I'm like, dude, ain't no way you play quarterback. You're huge. You know, and now I'm like, okay, I can understand how you might fall off a little bit. I can see that now, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, it was a point where I was such a machine. I was such a machine in a groove, especially from a professional standpoint, that I didn't really, I didn't take breaks. I didn't go on vacations. I was so doggone disciplined and like committed to the dream that I really didn't take time to enjoy it. And it went by like that. It went by so quick. I didn't travel. I didn't take advantage of those things. So I look back at it and I tell a lot of, you know, my guys that I train now, hey, take a break. Take some time, you know, away from it as well, because we do become very disciplined and get in the groove, and we'll ride that thing, and next thing you know, it's the season's back up. So I did take a chance to once I think maybe a year and a half out or 2 years out, I was just like, all right, let me see what this wake up whenever I feel like or not training or stuff like that. But now I'm like, I found different things, and like it's funny because like I've taken on cycling now. So
you have.
And now, like that discipline and it's a gift and a curse, that competitiveness.
Come on now.
Never dies.
Oh my God. Like that's something that I'm like, I have to dial back on too, because it's like I'm out there and I'm like, I'm riding beside a 60-year-old and he just pedaling and
I gotta get it in.
Yeah, and I'm looking at him like, man, I gotta lead this dude. You know? But you know, I highly suggest, like, you know, taking that time to decompress and to find that healthy balance in it too, because we do become very, very routine. Like Zara, like you say, it's funny because even in the entertainment industry, I see when a guy when he's been an athlete, because the routine, we can get in the routine and we just stay on track with it. So, you know, I tell people all the time is, like you said, adapting to change. And I think the biggest thing I definitely learned in that is, I call football the game of life, because it adapts with the ebbs and flows. You can be down in the first quarter, up in the second, back down in the third, and win the game. Or you can be up by 40 and still lose the game in the fourth quarter. You know, and that's just life, you know, and it's something that I've been able to carry over, you know, throughout, since transitioning out 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago.
Another perspective on that, as far as the losing the discipline side of transitioning out of athletics, I could, at a certain point, I had to find something to create an itinerary around. I didn't feel like myself.
Right, that too.
Outside of that schedule, you know what I'm saying? Outside of some type of schedule, outside of some type of itinerary. So I had to do something, and for that, working out, that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? I had to work out every day. You know what I'm saying? I had to work out a certain amount of time. You know what I'm saying? And when I stopped working out, my body changed, and you know what I'm saying?
That's gonna happen now.
I'm like, no, I can't. I ain't the Pat that I'm used to being proud to be.
Can't be Father Time don't listen. Don't miss on nobody. It's undefeated.
Right. So with that, you know, with sports teaching, you have to work to be what you want to be. You know what I'm saying? And then that's the same thing in life. You still have to work to become these things that you aspire to be. Whether you being an athlete or whatever you're doing in life, you still got to work at it. So I feel like being an athlete, transitioning, that inner athlete is gonna make you want to find something. Just like Court said, he in the cycling now. You know what I'm saying? He still got that. You want to do something that it give you that competitive pump, for lack of a better. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to have that in your life, or you don't feel like the person that you normally feel like. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a good segue to something that's been on my mind, you know, and I joke a lot, but I'm very serious too. And, you know, I was thinking, Coach Steph, like, can you shed some light on those people that have never gone through therapy, never felt talking to somebody, never, you know, because just as much as there's highs when you're out of that element of some sort of structure, you may not know what to do next, or even what to say on your first therapy.
That's real.
Like, so, you know, I think that it's probably powerful for someone tuning in, listening right now, because we're here with you. Like, the goal is that we're using this platform to ask the questions and the thoughts that you might be thinking, feeling, and hopefully that we're targeting on it. So when you see this, you guys send us Instagram, Field to Field, hit us up with DMs, like, you know, like put comments wherever you can put comments, send us messages, Google. If you'll find us somewhere. So make sure you just
reach out.
Please. So we can make sure that we keep asking them. But
please.
I think that it's a critical thing, and the thing that I Jared and I we've actually just added a segment into our podcast just called Mental Health Moment, because it is so critical when it comes to everybody, but athletes particularly. It's almost ingrained in you to just be tough, suck it up, whether that's I'm hurt or, you know, something's going on outside of this. I got to suck it up because I got to focus, like Court was just saying about being so focused. And so I feel like it's so critical to be able to understand your own, be self-reflective and be able to be honest with yourself about how you feel, and then not have shame in needing help. We just literally, our podcast that's coming out on Friday is our spotlight is on Brandon Marshall, because he took what was something that he knew wasn't right about himself, and he listened when somebody said, hey, go get yourself checked out, and it turned his life around. During a time like this, you might be discovering more anxiety, depression, stress, things that you just, you know, because you're not having that thing to focus on that would have put you outside of that. But so now you don't have anything to distract you from it. And so I encourage everybody, I don't care if you're an athlete or not, if you're having issues, it is okay to go and talk to somebody.
Yes, it is.
It is not taboo. It is not a weakness. It makes you stronger, in fact, that you would be willing to go and talk to somebody, that you're willing to say, I need somebody's help. And whether that's you need the help of a therapist, you need a psychologist, you need a psychiatrist, you need a coach, whatever that is. We all do very different things. So make sure you do your research on who you need to see. But it is still very critical. This is a time when, you know, you could be figuring out things about yourself that can change the trajectory of your life.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely.
And another key thing to remember too is just making sure that whoever it is that you speak to, you do need to connect. And if you see somebody the first time, the second time, and something feels off, go with that feeling and hit the books and call somebody else. You reach out, I'm sure, right? Stephanie, Jared, like maybe post some resources in different places that some like people can tune into. Maybe if they want to like call places or look up, you know, therapists, because some and think that the first person we may have met, good, so I'm done with this therapy. I know from personal experience, it's taken me like 2 or 3 different therapists to realize, okay, this is the right fit. You know, I was that girl, so I needed to find me a former football player that would give it to me real, right? Like, you know, like that's what I needed. I needed that somebody that wasn't gonna give me fluff or be like, well, you're amazing. Like I needed to have a person that connected with me. So don't think that if you see somebody and you didn't really like the vibe, that you're supposed to just stay or just not.
No.
It's okay to continue to keep find the right person.
And it's beautiful right now. One of the things that I've seen is that we've got a lot of opportunity for you to even if you don't want to like go sit, you know, the whole cliche, you know, lay on the couch thing.
It's not like that.
It's not like, first of all, it's not like that. But even if you don't want to, you know, face to face with someone, there are all kinds of opportunities now. You can call their hotlines. You can do virtual. There's so many ways to get what you need. So there is really no excuse for you not getting it other than you.
Yeah, I'm a advocate of therapy. I started my journey last year. And one thing I can say from my experience is definitely I got lucky and found somebody on the first try. I got lucky, but it did come from a recommendation, and the feeling there was, like you said, it was what I was needing, and in it I've been able to go back down that path and figure out things that have, you know, either caused hindrance or have, you know, help. Like I've been able to balance out and see the reason and the rationale behind certain things and why they've happened, and or the decisions that I've made, or the people that I've chose to, you know, involve in my life. And I think a key part of that is in therapy. You often find, and I tell all my friends this, a therapist, you're going to end up talking yourself and answering the questions on your own.
Wow.
Yeah.
They just guide you through the conversation. It's not someone sitting there telling you, hey, you should be doing this or you should be doing that. They say different things and make you think and guide you through conversation. So
open-ended questions.
Yeah, open-ended questions and thought-provoking things, and things that really, you know, are going to make you think, that are going to make you, you know, assess certain things and really just make you walk back down those roads. I say you're gonna have to be prepared to walk back down some roads and shine some flashlights into some dark areas. But we often know that once we've done it, you don't feel the emptiness, you don't feel the voids anymore. You know how to deal with these things when they come to you front and center.
Yeah, coping skills.
It's right there, and you know how to deal with it. So we will be posting different recommendations and different therapists who are taking on more clients, whether if it be digital or in person. I know right now we're kind of in that phase of certain places being open, certain places not, but we will be tallying up our resources and make sure that we're providing you guys with that. And we also will be having therapists coming on, talking with us through different sessions, along with other professional athletes, athletes who have transitioned on to great tasks and to doing great things in this world, and athletes with stories who you guys can relate to. Like we said, we want to keep it real. That's why it's called Field to the Real. And we want to make sure that we're transitioning and that we're doing the things and providing you guys with the tools. So please, like Zara said, you can follow the Field to the Real social media, Instagram at Field to the Real, and also our YouTube, as well as our Twitter and everything that will be up. How can we find each individual person here? Starting off with Jamia, can you give us your social media handle so that everybody can get in contact?
Yes, my social media Instagram is jbyrd, JBYRD _new breed.
Okay. Pat, what you got for us?
IG at Coach Progress Pat.
Okay, Coach Progress. I like it.
Progress Pat.
Progress Pat, like Project Pat.
Project Pat,
yeah. A
little twist.
All right, Jared, what you got for us, Jared?
So my social media right now is I'm managing the Field to the Real podcast page, and that's at Field 2 the Real podcast. And on Twitter, for whatever reason, Twitter just decided that they didn't want me to have a long handle. So it's Field 2 the Real P1 on Twitter. So you can hit me at either one of those.
Got you. All right, Kyle.
My IG is kbailey, KBAILEY _6. For the Beyond You page, it is Beyond You __.
Steph, where can we find you at on social media?
IG at the Advantage Coach.
Wow.
Hello, Coach.
Yeah,
Z, where can we find you at?
All right, I've got two. So I've got at Moving in Faith, and then at Zara Northover, which is my name, ZaraNorthover at Zara Northover.
And you could
at Moving in Faith on Twitter.
Hey, Moving in Faith. Oh, I got so much stories behind that. Oh.
I want to share New Breed Works. We on Instagram as well at New Breed Works.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, look for that orange and that for that blue.
Orange and blue, baby.
There it is with that too. You can find me at CPTWO9, and you can also follow and find Connected Opportunities at KINNECTEDOPPS.
I'm gonna write that in.
Connected Ops. Yeah, we're gonna write it in. We're gonna bring some subtitles in and all.
Right. Everybody gotta spell it out.
Yeah, we gotta spell it out, man. But this is the Field to the Real experience. And once again, like I said, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank all of you guys who've been a part of this. Number one, in building this vision and making sure this vision come to life. We will, like I said, be bringing on more opportunities for our college students to tap in and be a part of this as well, and to share your stories. Like we said, share your information, send us videos, comments, questions, anything like that to the Field to the Real podcast. To the Field to the Real Instagram handle, or you can send them to us individually and we'll compile them and get everything sent over and make sure that we have you a part of our episodes. Like I said, once again, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We are out. Field to the Real. See y'all later.